Hello, welcome to another episode here at Big Man in the Woods. Now, don't know if you know where I'm standing. I'm in a very snowy car park here at Gilwell Park. We're going to dive inside and go and chat to the boss of scouting, Matt Hyde. We're going to spend a few hours with him and quiz him all about what's happening with scouts. Let's go. Right, so I'm inside. I have avoided the snow. It's lovely snow today, man.
It is lovely.
It's
yeah,
brilliant.
apart from the M25, which wasn't so lovely.
We've got a whole load of questions here, Matt.
Great.
Both from me and both from viewers of Big Man in the Woods.
Fantastic.
So some are
forward to
a
it.
bit political,
I'm used to that. That's my life.
and some are good fun. This is not going to be any News 24, BBC News, nothing like that.
No, fine.
It's all good.
Good. Looking forward to it.
Right, so first few seconds, Matt, let's just introduce yourself and in a tweet, tell us what you do here at Scouts.
I am the Chief Executive of the Scouts. So that's responsible for the strategy of the organisation, working with the board, and obviously the UK Chief Commissioner and the lead volunteers. And we hopefully add value and help volunteers to make Scouting as amazing as it can be. That's more than 140 characters, I think. But, you know,
all right. We didn't count
it's
exactly.
still, when the coffee kicks in, we'll probably liven up a bit.
So last time I checked you, Matt, at Reunion, you were telling us that you've just taken the role as Cub leader. Are you still doing it?
Gosh, well, I mean, that must have been a while ago because I've been a Beaver Scout leader and a Cub Scout leader and a Scout leader. And I stepped down as a Scout leader a few months ago now, but it was amazing. It was brilliant. I mean, I've always believed in leadership, that you have to keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. And it was a brilliant way of really every week just thinking through, okay, how is what we're doing at Gilwell Park actually making a difference on the ground?
Were there things that you noticed that actually things aren't working or?
Well, yeah, I mean, like there are many layers, aren't there, in the Scout Association?
Yeah.
If you were starting it from scratch, you might not necessarily devise something that has 8,000 separate charities, but we are where we are. And, you know, look, in any federated organisation, and frankly probably any organisation full stop, whether you're in a big bank or a big public sector body or whatever it is, you're constantly, as a leader in a role like mine, trying to think about the practicalities of, is what you're doing genuinely making a difference? The stuff that we have to do in order to, say, keep young people safe, is that proportionate in terms of the sort of the burden it places on people who are giving their time up? So, you know, just that constant reminder, and then I would come back on a sort of, much to the delight of some of the staff here, would come back on a sort of Friday morning and say, that badge we're doing, are you sure this is working? Is this really having the impact? So, yeah, it was. It's been a brilliant experience.
Nice. What are those badges that you thought, nah, it's not really working?
Let me tell you about the ones that are working.
Go on.
It's a classic kind of response to a media question, that one, isn't it? Let me answer the question that I want to answer.
Yeah.
So I used to love things like the Creative Challenge Award, because it was so easy to just pick up and run with and do different ideas, and young people loved it and things like that. It's interesting when we've done stuff around the A Million Hands stuff, what worked and what kind of we went back and fed back about. Is it too complicated? Are there things we're trying to do that anyone who wants to pick it up and run with it has to spend so much time getting their head around?
Research.
If that's the case, then it needs kind of evolving. And then, you know, we all love a night whereby you can have a partnership where you just know of your 10, 12 nights in a term, you've got 2 or 3 ticked off. So I loved things like the partnership we had with Warhammer. Really, really simple, great evening, things like that. Digital Maker Badge, I had Raspberry Pi volunteers come in and doing stuff. That was really cool as well. Yeah, so I think it's things like that, and then obviously the training. And I look at where we've moved in terms of training as well, and things like safeguarding and safety, being online, where we've really tested that to get that content as sharp and as necessary as possible to cover all the bases, but being able to do it in the most efficient way as possible, and therefore by putting it online, making sure it's consistent as well, so we know that everyone's doing the same content.
Yeah. So what badges did you really not like? Come on.
Oh, that's so negative. What negative question?
No, there's always a badge that people are like, oh.
There are.
So for me, knots.
Yeah, well, I was about to say,
I
there are
can't do
badges
knots.
that you do that is just not your skill set.
Yeah.
But the way I always approached that was, we had a team, right? I mean, I'm not the world's most natural scout. My brothers were, but in terms of traditional sort of running camps and things like that. So I had a brilliant member of my team called Stu, who would run all the camps far better than I would, and was far more effective. We had another guy called Ollie, who would, I used to call him like the Ministry of Fun, because he was the one that was just so good at the games, and the young people loved him. And then we had Becky in our team, who would do all of the communications and support and engagement with the parents and things like that. And I think that model is how you build amazing, sustainable teams, because then when some of us moved on, others moved into different positions. But it was a team effort, and it's interesting. We all met up recently, even though some are still involved, some are not. And that sort of bringing people together as a team is actually makes the role more enjoyable as well, right? Because this is about, and lots of us, some of us didn't know each other before we got involved. That is the power of scouting. It's also that team ethos is at the heart of what we're trying to do in terms of changes to the volunteer experience as well.
Yeah, delegation. That's what I found. Right. There's some things you just, like you say, you just can't do, and you need help.
I tell you, the best nights, and the nights I enjoyed the most, was where you'd got 4 bases. You'd brought in different parents and carers as well, and a few external people, and basically I could sit back and enjoy the night, and because everyone was running those bases and people were getting involved in it, rather than having a load of parents sat on the side, not turning up but not really knowing what they were there to do.
Which section did you enjoy the best? Beavers, Cubs?
Well, they're all different actually, and I really enjoyed Cubs. Cubs is a great section. I think you've got you on that bridge point. But I do also, I mean, Beavers was a bit like, strapping yourself in for on a roller coaster for an hour. You kind of go and you get spat out the other side. What just happened there? And then Scouts, I think what's interesting about Scouts is that they come in as children and they leave as young people, and that developmentally, probably because it's 3.5 years rather than 2 years as well, to see the transformation of the young person. That's why we do what we do, right? And that is really, really, really powerful. But the other thing is I've gone around, obviously was pretty heavily involved in the development of squirrels. Again, totally different. When I saw it with my own eyes, first in Northern Ireland and then through the pilots, it looked like scouting, but it really did feel different as well. So, and Explorers, I've not run Explorers. I've got a 15-year-old though. He's having the time of his life.
Yeah, he doesn't want you there.
No, and I think that's good as well.
Good to give them their own space.
Good for him. I think, again, it's really interesting experiencing it as a parent as well as a chief exec as well. So, just mind-blowingly impressive in terms of what volunteers and the leaders are doing.
And I think parents still forget that we're volunteers. Every couple of weeks I have to remind parents that I work in a hospital and this one works here, and we're all volunteers, and they're like, why'd you do it? Like,
I think that is true, and I think it's something that's very powerful about what we do. So a few people have said to me, you could charge a lot more and people would pay for it. And I think, there are parts of society that are used to being able to pay for things. What I love about Scouts is that it is all about what I would call reciprocity. So you give a bit and you get a bit back. And it's genuinely a sense of communities coming together to make things happen. It's not unique in Scouts, but it is at the heart of what makes the voluntary sector so powerful. We saw it massively in the pandemic. 12.4 million people volunteered, 4.6 million people for the first time. 3.8 million of those want to go on to volunteer, and that's why I've kind of been developing this idea called the Big Help Out, which is going to be the Monday of the coronation, which is how can we unlock that spirit of kindness throughout all of society in lots of different organisations, and how do we do it in a way that tells the story that yes, this is good for society, yes, this is good for, in our instance, young people, but it's good for you as an individual as well. It's good for your skills, it's good for your well-being, it's good to be part of something.
Yeah, it's good to be part of the community because, particularly in London, we don't talk to each other and we keep our own separate lives and stuff. So trying to get all together will be...
Well, London is really interesting because having, I spent, 20 years living in London, and so I went to university in London and then carried on.
What uni
there.
did you go to?
I went to Queen Mary, University of London in the East End, and the Mile End Road's really interesting, and Tower Hamlets is really interesting because you've got some of the wealthiest communities cheek by jowl with some of the poorest communities. I suppose, at the risk of making this too political, there's something very powerful about what we do that cuts to the origins of the movement, right? That Brownsea Island was about bringing together young people from public schools and those that were not from that background and mixing them, what we would now call social mixing, but actually just bringing people together to realise they have more in common. Now, I don't think that message could be any more relevant in 2023 when we've got populism, post-truth, wars in Europe, and a sense of developing global citizens. Right?
Yep, absolutely. It's again too political, Matt.
Sorry, apologies.
What would you cook as a meal on a campfire? What is your go-to meal?
You can't beat a fry-up, can you?
But what does a fry-up contain?
Well, I mean, look, as a meat eater, it's the full works, isn't it? I mean, they're the best. Back to my camping experiences, they were always the best: bacon, sausage, eggs, eggs in different ways.
Are you good at camping on the camping, cooking on a?
I'm not a bad cook, actually. Again, you as part of the team ethos, we would delegate that out. But look, again, the best thing has been actually seeing young people do that themselves.
Yeah. So two things I remember. One, Bear refused to eat some canned donuts I made for him. He just looked at it and was like, what's that? So I was like, if Bear doesn't eat my cooking, what does that say? So that's one of my stories.
His body's a temple, so he's very careful about what he eats, unlike me. But I don't know, maybe he was worried that if he'd eaten them, that he would never eat anything quite so magnificent ever again.
So that's one of my stories about cooking on the campfire. The second one is we were doing a district competition.
Yeah.
And one of my scouts served a bacon sandwich.
Yeah.
And just as we looked at that bacon, it was literally pink. So he would have spent the whole weekend on the toilet. But he served it and was like, there's a bacon sandwich. Whether that was a joke or whatever, I don't know. But he was
probably
convinced.
Not. We've all been through. We've all witnessed those kind of horror shows. No. I mean, I remember so I'm from Hertfordshire, and I live in Hertfordshire. I'm from Cambridgeshire, but they do this thing in St Albans, this ready, steady, cook thing. Like it'll be happening with loads of explorers or scouts across the country, and I always feel for the judges who get kind of served up a plate of like, lovely, thanks very much.
Yeah. And they just have one little spoonful.
Gordon Ramsay's kitchen nightmares, equivalent of like, how is this edible in any way?
No. Talking about food, we ask all our guests.
Yeah.
It's good for scouts. Coordinates.
Yes.
This could either be tea or coffee. I can see you're drinking coffee. So what coffee are you going to go for?
2D.
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 Yeah. And would that be the same for your tea?
That's my tea. Sorry.
Oh, tea.
Oh, coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Good question. Probably 2C. Coffee now. Before lunch.
Yeah.
No coffee after lunch. Decaf tea after lunch.
Confusing.
If I have caffeine after lunch, I just can't sleep.
That's too confusing.
So there you are.
Right. We've asked you what's your favourite scout badge. This is a problem for me. Do you sew or glue your badges on your blanket?
I asked my mother. In her 82nd year, she is the. She can sew like a seamstress. Really impressive. So yeah, I outsource. It's all about delegation. That's the message. It's all about delegation.
Delegation.
She loves it.
We were talking about it. What do you think are the biggest challenges for scouts right at the moment?
Well, still waiting list. 90,000 young people who can't join because we still need more volunteers. Not just volunteers. Some parts of the country, it's about places as well. So Interestingly, you've got lots of parts of the community where you've got predominantly a Muslim community, and I think what's interesting is often I speak to some adult volunteers who say in some of those communities they've got the volunteers but they haven't got the physical places, and that was particularly acute after COVID. So people and places, I suppose, are two of our ongoing challenges. And, I think the other thing is we have grown for, 14 of the last 15 years, which is amazing. I think there are still questions about where we're growing and how reflective we are of modern society. And I'm not saying that because of some woke agenda. I'm saying it because, one, we know that young people from some of the poorest communities have so much to gain from scouting and non-formal education. In fact, for many young people, where school is just a turn off, it's not working for them, we know that scouting unlocks so much in them. That was my brother's story. My brother's story was school, they didn't really enjoy or thrive in school in quite the way that others might have done. But scouting was one of those activities that gave them confidence, positive messages, reinforcement, wider skills development. And I think both of them would now attribute scouting to why they went on to have really successful careers, one as a finance director and one in really senior in further education. So that's the importance of why we need to reach different communities, and also we need to, in order to be relevant and continue to be credible, it's ensuring that we are reaching all parts of society.
Yep.
That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
And that's not something we've just come up with in some kind of strategic plan with KPIs. You go back to 100 years ago, reading in the Scout Gazette and other things, what Baden-Powell was talking about, exactly the same stuff, exactly the same.
Just modernise it a little bit.
Yeah, well, and it is the cliche about scouting as a movement because it moves with the times.
Yep.
But it is important. I do think the reason why, unlike other organisations, the reason why we've been successful, particularly in recent years since 2009, it sort of predates me, but we've had to continue to have a great run, is because we've continued to modernise it. Now, you have to do that in a way that is at the right pace, and you've got to do it in a way that isn't a disconnect for someone saying, oh, hang on, I know you might be saying that there or in the media, but does this reflect what I'm doing on the ground? And so that's why we've got so many, hundreds of volunteers here at just a headquarters point of view who are shaping, influencing, directing what we do to try and get that balance between continuing to move forward but doing it in a way that is credible and real.
Yeah, and I think some people don't like change, do they? Like, we've all met those scout leaders that have been around for a long time, and then you come along and introduce a new idea or a new badge or something like that. No, we don't.
Well, one of Bear's sayings is, he says, the only people who like change man are babies with wet bottoms. Is
that your Bear Grylls impression?
It's a version of it, yes. It's a version of it. Whenever you're going through a change program, and if you're constantly changing I think just change is a norm, right? We've just got to think about, these aren't programs, it's just you've got to keep changing, not for change's sake, but because the world around us has changed. Look at the last 5 years, what's happened in, pandemic and, everything that's changed there in terms of the way we work and the way we use digital technology, the way we engage with each other. But I think within that, it's about being true to the original vision. And I think, when we developed the Skills for Life branding, I think the reason why it went down well with people, because people could see it immediately and go, yeah, I get that. And actually you go back 100 years, what is it about? Being outdoors, being with friends, volunteering at the heart of what we do, community, service, everything that's in the promise and the law. These are constants, right? But how do we keep adapting to the world around us is essential, whether that be badges, whether that be trading. And the key is how we take as many people with us on that journey as possible, because sometimes people have legitimate concerns, and guess what, I hate to say it, sometimes we don't always get it right. So the key is you've got to keep listening and engaging, and sometimes you have to say, well, I hear you, but we've thought this through, we've seen the evidence, we've heard what young people want to say, so we're going to continue on the journey. Or the harder decisions are sometimes, particularly if you're in a position like mine where people have gone on a, they've absolutely convinced this is the right thing, is when you put the handbrake turn on and you go, I'm not sure we got this right. Yeah. And that's why I kind of get fairly obsessive about listening to people, whether it be on social media, whether it be on visits around the country, whether it be through the governance itself, and making sure that the decisions we're making are broadly in the right place. I don't pretend we always get it right, but we're always listening. And we're always acting with the best of intentions and motivations. Yeah. Ignore my watch. It sometimes talks to me.
I'm going to get to that one in a minute, about Bear Grylls.
All right.
Scarf or necker?
Do you know what? I think I use both.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And I don't know why I use both. I mean, I think probably I use necker more than anything else, if I'm honest. But I do sometimes say scarf, and in some parts of the country I might say necky.
Necky?
If I'm feeling a little bit exotic, well.
Right, s'mores. Every scout loves a s'more.
Yep.
I learnt this from a scout group in Dorset about how to make the perfect s'more. Or how would you make your s'more?
First thing is about toasting the marshmallow in the right way.
Okay.
Not too burnt. Some people like it really burnt. Mm. Not for me. Then I would go with, personally, for speed, I'd go for digestive biscuits.
Chocolate digestive?
Chocolate digestive. Yeah. That's it, really. I'm kind of pretty old school.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
I
make
agree.
it too fancy. My wife was she did Girl Scout camps after she left uni. And they have mastered the s'more to incredible effect.
Okay.
And so they use, it's all about is it graham crackers or graham crackers? I think they describe. Now that I have tried that as well. That does make a massive difference as well.
Second Wimborne, the scout group down in Dorset, not far from Brownsea Island.
Okay.
They have now told me to swap digestives to a Jaffa cake.
Well, you see, I don't mind orange or marmalade with chocolate. Yeah. Not for everyone. But I tell you, someone who was waxing lyrical about s'mores recently. Do you know who this was?
Go on.
The Prime Minister.
Oh?
So he visited a group in Inverness about 6 weeks ago. Classic example. This is probably quite interesting. Well, maybe interesting for people who are listening, which is that, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens where sometimes people say, why don't we get a heads up? I mean, that one, I think we had less than 24 hours. We were told that, the Prime Minister wants to visit a scout group, was up in Scotland, and went to this group in Inverness and made s'mores and talked about how he loved making s'mores as a scout.
Did he make one himself and get it melted down his soup?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
That would have been great.
No, I don't think so.
That little bit of
just stuck I think they'd have edited that out.
If you could create a new badge for adults, what would it be? And what would the criteria contain? I've got it on this
probably one. I think I'd give you the boring answer and a more interesting answer. I think the boring answer would be, I'd love to find ways of recognising great stuff that people are doing locally, whether that be an innovation badge for the coolest transformation to what's happening with the programme, or a EDI badge for people who are genuinely, as leaders, making sure their group is as inclusive as possible. So that's the kind of boring answer. But I think actually it's probably got some legs in it. I don't know. Most s'mores eaten badge? Bacon badge.
How to make the perfect
bacon badge. Well, and also volume. Because you could do it like a stage badge. You could how many bacon butters can you have? Probably not actually in terms of
brown or red sauce them in your bacon butty.
Oh, red.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, easy.
Okay, how many scout ambassadors are there?
Well, They're changing all the time, and actually, the other thing that's confusing about this is actually we are identifying another one at the moment. So
No. Okay. On the Scout website, as of this morning, at 7:30 this morning, when I double checked.
10,
No.
11.
No.
But you see,
12 at the moment.
oh well, that's not far off. Okay, well, that wasn't far. I wasn't far off.
Who have you missed then? Let's work out. Come on then.
Oh no, you're not going to do that for me. No, in fact, literally, I'm looking at a picture over here. There's some Scout ambassadors, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I mean, plus Bear. Did you include Bear?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's not ambassador.
No, I know that. I was just trying to see if I could turn the question back on you. But I mean, look, we are really lucky, and we're constantly trying to, again. Well, I mean, firstly to say that our ambassadors do an incredible job.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff that Tim Peake was doing last week around the launching of the rocket in Florida, that was just, I mean, honestly, seriously, in terms of coverage and profile, this is the sort of stuff organisations would, just cherish. And then you've got Helen and Helen Glover and Steve Backshaw, young kids. Could be becoming Squirrel Scout leaders soon. Could be.
Is that a tip-off?
Could be.
Are you telling us something?
Could be. Eddie Simmons again.
Have you been inspired to take up dancing then, since Ellie was doing Strictly?
Well, I don't think it's right for me to show off my moves now. But
there's no one here.
Yeah, only the staff team, so that's definitely what I'm not going to do. No. I'm a big Strictly fan though.
You and Bear?
Me and Bear.
Do you think Bear would do it? Is he good at dancing?
I don't think that's his scene. That's my gut. That's not his scene.
He's
But
not
one of
good
the, one of the other ambassadors might. You never know. Steve Backshaw's done it, hasn't he?
Steve?
Yeah. So there
Dwayne?
you go. Dwayne might. No, I don't think it's Dwayne's scene either.
Did you see the vlog I did with Dwayne?
No, I didn't.
Stuck in the mini with him.
Dwayne is such a joy, and he's such an incredible. And again, his commitment and also what he's done in terms of taking the Scouts on some of his expeditions as well. Yeah. He's a great guy.
So come on, ambassador-wise,
Yeah.
who would you like if you could pick other people to be Scout
Are
ambassadors?
you offering?
Of
Are you
course.
offering your
Yeah.
services?
Yeah.
Right, we'll put you on the list.
So how do you become an ambassador? How would you?
Well, what we do is we do a lot of polling, we do a lot of research, we ask young people, we ask the public, we ask leaders. We then work with different agencies to actually think about what would people, would they be interested. We're trying to project something different about Scouting each time, so that could be, one of the messages is you don't have to be an adventurer, for example. We also have a Scout Adventurers program as well, where we've got loads of people who sign up to be adventurers. But we're trying to sort of communicate, and also you want enough people who are from different backgrounds that a different young person and or a different leader can look at them and go, that person's like me. If they can do it, this organisation's for me.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
So who's your favourite ambassador?
Oh, don't be ridiculous. I'm not going to answer that question, am I?
Come on, man.
They're all my favourites. They're all my favourites.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So who's this new ambassador? You're saying there's some new people coming.
Well, no, this is an easy question. I genuinely don't know.
Oh.
Because we have a team of people who look into this. So the comms team and the head of brand, he spends lots of time talking to people, exploring options. So you'll be the first to know.
If I bung you £5,
Yes.
the new chief scout.
Oh, yeah. What, you want to be the new chief scout for £5?
Oh, well, that's an option if it's that cheap. There's a rumour.
Yes, oh yeah.
Rumour on the streets.
Do you know what? A rumour in the Scout movement?
No,
really?
never.
I don't believe it. Right, okay.
The new scout has been chosen. The new chief scout has been chosen.
Oh, will you let me know?
You don't know either.
You let me know. Let me know. When you find out, you let me know. Where's that rumour come from?
Don't know, I was told last night.
Really?
A little tip off. And I was like, okay.
Good. Was it someone with
No, the best thing
authority?
Is the best thing is they couldn't tell me who it was. They
Oh,
just said,
brilliant.
the new chief scout's been chosen. Well, who is it then? And they were like, I haven't been told. I've just been told that it's been picked. Well, that's
fantastic.
That's rubbish then.
Well, I hear lots of things here in this role whereby decisions have been made. Hang on, you've started some of these rumours yourself over the time.
No.
Wasn't it you at Gilwell reunion starting rumours as well?
We didn't talk about the dry reunion.
Okay, yeah, that's right. The dry reunion.
The dry reunion.
That was it. I remember now. Yeah, I'd forgotten what it was. Yeah, well, that's kind of look. You got 140,000 people. There'll always be sort of things swirling around. I mean, it's why we tried to do. So we introduced these webinars pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Which people think we did it during COVID. We didn't. We've been doing it for a year, and you got a few people turning up. We did it when we launched the plan back in 2018, the Skills for Life plan, and then in COVID, first I think it was a week or two after lockdown. Of course, everyone was at home. No one had anything else to do, and we'd said we'd engaged Zoom, and we said. They'd given it, I think it was free up to 10,000, and then said, but you have to pay for more. And I said, we were like, I think we might get more than 10,000, but how do we know? We've only ever had hundreds before. Mm-hmm. And we did, and we saw the kind of attendance going up, and it was literally like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. It went up to 16,000. We were at the time 500 off the biggest Zoom call ever in the world.
Oh, wow.
So
could have been a new Guinness World Record for Scouts.
Could have been a Guinness, yeah, exactly. So, but no one had anything else to do. So, so they had to listen to kind of me and I think it was Tim at the time talking about what was going on and how we were going to respond. But there you go. That's.
So I had that crazy idea of doing the first live Scout session during COVID. So I was working in a hospital during the day and doing live Thursdays.
Right.
I didn't realise that the internet would crash, this would crash. You'll be in the middle of a badge or something and then everything would die and oh man, to restart the internet and it was a disaster. But Skills for Life, Bear's famous resilience, keep going, keep
Never
going.
Give up, never give up.
It was brilliant and we had lots of people joining in around the world. That was great.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think we learned to do things differently, didn't we? And some of that stuck. And some of it, it's like, I think the thing about COVID was how do you take the best bits from that and keep doing it? But also, what did we lose? And I think that one of the things that was interesting for me about scouting was, as a leader coming back after that, was I remember the excitement and the reconnection of the leaders as much as the young people, of just being back together and that kind of positivity and just being outside around a campfire again. And there's loads of things you can do remotely, great. And there's loads of work we do, obviously, that's hybrid now. You can't really beat being in the same room as someone.
An online campfire, oh my God.
Yeah.
Can't do any more of this. Can't do any more of this.
No, it's not the same, is it?
No. When I was with Dwayne, we tried to call Bear.
Right.
And he didn't answer.
Right.
So if we called Bear now, do you think he would answer?
I think he might, but I don't know where he actually is. We were in touch yesterday. I tell you what we were in touch about. Scouts the musical.
Yes!
Yeah? Do we like that?
Are you coming?
I think I am coming, yes. I don't know which night I'm doing, but they are really great guys.
Saturday the 23rd I'm going.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we might be around that week. So Bear's very excited about it.
That's where we're going.
And,
I'm talking to Sam.
Sam's a good guy.
During the week we're going to be doing an interview with Sam.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good. They're really good guys. And I went to the St Albans Gang Show with him. And again, it's interesting. They did these other musicals like Timpson's the musical and stuff like that. Like so many people, when they come across scouting, they kind of think they have an idea of what it is, which will probably conform with all the stereotypes that you see on ghosts or whatever else. But actually, once suddenly they get their eyes open to this incredible organisation, incredible movement, global movement of 57 million people in all parts of society in the UK and around the world. And so he kind of has really drunk the Kool-Aid. He loves it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Do you know much about it? Is it like a gang show?
No, I know that I've heard one of the songs.
One person can do a lot when they're on their own, but being a part of the pack means they'll do a lot more.
Here's a promise we can keep when the mountain's looking steep. Yes, be brave, but don't pretend. When you need help, wait and ask a friend to climb to the top and to pull you up too. These are your skills for life.
I mean, I like a musical as much as the best person and the next person, which is probably you. And I'm guessing you're a musical fan,
I do like musicals.
right? So yeah, I scouting and musicals, I'm sold.
What's your favourite musical then?
Changes.
Right now?
Hamilton probably at the moment.
Is it?
Hamilton. I mean, Les Mis is a kind of constant. What about you? You're more of a Lloyd Webber fan.
I should just go beep end this now. No. Mary Poppins.
Really?
I like Mary Poppins. That was good. Jersey Boys was a good one.
Yeah, I've not seen Jersey Boys.
Jersey Boys was
Not
good.
really my kind of thing.
No, this is not going well.
No. Anything else? Wicked?
Wicked's good.
Yeah, we're like, okay, we've got a common one there. Yeah, we could turn this into a whole
Musical.
vlog
Guess the
about
musical.
musicals.
Yeah. No, it's been good.
Good.
So is Bear going to make an appearance in the Scout musical then?
I don't know whether he'll make an appearance.
Because
but
they're
I think-
saying if you wear your uniform,
Right.
is this an interactive show? Yeah.
Right.
If you wear your
This is
uniform,
right. Yeah, go on.
there's more chance of you getting dragged up on the West End.
Oh,
In
really?
the actual show.
Yeah, is that right? Okay. Well, there you are. Again, how many other charities have had musicals named after them and like built around them?
Yeah.
But also the base that we've got is, I think, it does capture the best of what we do in terms of gang shows and being part of the public culture.
I went to
and
the
in a
gang
good
show-
way as well. Not in a way where, there was a time, I think, and I get that there's still parts of the society that still think, we're
Dib,
boys
dog.
only and all that kind of, those kind of stereotypes. And that's why a lot of the work we've kind of do with the brand is about modernising it and refreshing it and telling positive stories about the modern face of scouting. But, I think this is it's a really good example that this is a really positive thing that I think will, again, be a great story, and hopefully loads of scouts will go and have a great night.
And they are giving a promo code for Scouts.
Yes, they are. And
I can't
no
remember.
doubt you can put it on here when it goes
I
out.
can't remember the promo code. But I do know the promo code. So if
yeah.
you're a Scout member,
That's right.
you can get some discount
That's
off.
right. That's right.
We all love a little bit of discount.
Yeah, absolutely.
All good. Right, one more question for you, Matt.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
Cartoon question.
Right, okay.
Back to coordinates. What out of this is your
Oh, this is
cartoon?
Hey Dougie's interesting, isn't he?
That's a bit of a spin-off, isn't it?
Well,
put it in
it's
there.
the one that got away. So I don't even know whether to tell the story or not, which is, there were lots of conversations with the Hey Dougie team when we launched Squirrels, and it didn't quite come off. So the producers were very, very keen.
I think you're a bit of a Wallace and Gromit.
I didn't quite know how to take that. Thanks.
No,
but
no,
you
as
could have-
a
you
fan.
could have said Mr. Bean, I suppose. Well, I tell you something. I am going 1A, and do you know why?
Straight for Mickey.
I'm going straight for Mickey because we did the whole Disney thing last August. One of these kind of trip of a lifetime things, and my wife went and said, "Look, you and the son, you go and have a great time. I'm going to go in my Kindle, and I'll just sit, and I'll read the Kindle while you're doing lots of kind of cool stuff." 2 weeks later, Mickey ears, Mickey t-shirt, leaving floods of tears because she'd had the most incredible time and just kind of absolutely got into the whole Disney spirit. And the other reason is because they're a partner, and they've just done the Encanto badge. We don't talk about Bruno, but we do talk about mental health. So I'm all for that. Encanto, there's a good musical. And there's more coming, which is very exciting. More coming.
more
That's
Disney.
very exciting.
More Disney
Yeah.
Like what?
So I'm
It's
not.
just
No,
me
no,
and
no,
you.
no, no, no. It's a teaser. No, there you go. So anyway, so I think they're a great partner, and yeah, I'm all for the. I tell you what I like about what Disney have done is is the way I think they have, again, modernised their brand. And I'm not just talking about Disney Plus and stuff like that, and some of the cool stuff they put out, but I think they've done. They do diversity really, really well, and actually, they created all these amazing characters that are appealing to young people in completely different ways.
Yep.
So there you go.
And girl guiding
Why
and
not?
Scouts, are they going to combine? Are we going to get that branding?
Well, of course, they do combine on things like gang shows and on Jamboree. Of course, there'll be a Girl Guiding members. I mean, so my counterpart, Angela at Girl Guiding, and we talk, I would say, 3 times a week, if not more, because so many things we go to around, whether it be funders or whether it be the government or whether it be other partners, we're having the same conversation about the same things in the same way. And we've got this project funded by the Pears Foundation, which is helping to think about how we jointly, using technology, help to attract people into our movements as well for new volunteers. And we get on really, really well. And that really matters when you're collaborating with people. I think it really helps if you get on well as 2 different people. And look, we are part of the same family, right? We've got the same parents,
Exactly.
and same history.
Yeah.
But we do different things, and they've just done their rebrand this week,
They did.
and they're very understandably focusing on girl-only space, and that's great because I think and it's great that girls have a choice that they can, and as you'll know, lots of girls are in both. Are in Scouts and Guides, and in things like, I don't know, gang shows or things like that, can be there as Scouts or Guides as well. So there you go.
So what was the last thing you and Bear talked about, apart from the musical?
Well, that was the last thing. That literally was the last thing.
You don't just talk about Scouts, do you? Talk about mates.
Well, I tell you something. I mean, he is, I've worked with him now for 10 years. What you see with Bear is what you get. I thought the Louis Theroux interview they did was a really good representation of what Bear's actually like. And this will be a bit of a kind of Bear love it, right? But he is. I've been lucky throughout my career, both here and in other places, to meet lots of famous people, lots of incredible people, from politicians, members of the royal family, celebrities. He is one of the most incredible people I have met in any walk of life. And he, I don't think it's a coincidence that he started as Chief Scout in 2009. We've grown 14 of those last 15 years. Now, why have we grown? Because of amazing people watching this who are doing incredible things, growing Scouting, putting on a brilliant program, attracting more young people. But I don't think it's a coincidence that Bear's tenure has also coincided with this huge resurgence of Scouting. And it's because he's authentic. You look at him and you go, yeah, that's what Scout's about. It's about values. It's about, his, what he does, but the person he is as well. And when you do something like Windsor, or you do Bear's Unsung Heroes, or you are just out and about with him, you can see the impact he has when he's talking to a volunteer or a young leader. And it's a story about positivity. If you're kind and you're living the values, but also, this is what you do, if you're really enthusiastic and positive, people want to be with you. Mm-hmm. But when he does that, you leave feeling, I've seen it, I've seen people physically grow in front of your eyes just because he said, you're amazing, good for you.
Yeah.
And he's always like that. Whenever I see him, nearly every day is an amazing day at Scouts. Some days aren't, okay, because it's life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He will be the person who, whenever you see him, will be so positive and saying, you're amazing, you're doing a great job, we're all behind you. And we all need that in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what Scouting's about, because that's what we do with young people, but it's what we should do with adult volunteers as well, that kind of positivity. Not because there aren't challenges in life and we're not dealing with things that sometimes are difficult or that we don't always get it right, but because actually at the heart of this is good people trying to make the world a better place. And he's the embodiment of that. So yeah, we talk about all sorts of things, and
And unfortunately, the interview suddenly stopped due to technology. Man, it's just frustrating just when you're in the middle of something and technology kicks in. But sadly, that's all I could have filmed. And hey, could have thrown a hissy fit, but what's the point? Basically, Matt just ran up just by saying how well Bear Grylls is an all-round guy, you know, committed to Scouts and the other charities that he does, and that kind of family man. And he was just wishing that the next Chief Scout would follow in that path, and whoever that will be open and inspiring to young people and adult volunteers as well. So, Scout leaders, I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of time with CEO Matt Hyde behind the scenes of Scouting UK and what he gets up to and what he thinks Scouts is and what the best bits and the bits he finds frustrating. Exactly like me and you, no doubt. You know, social media playing that big part. Scout leaders, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time here on Big Man in the Woods. If you want to see some more interviews with some Scout ambassadors, that one we were talking about with Dwayne Fields, click this link just here and you'll be able to watch it. And I'll see you next time here on Big Man in the Woods. Take care, my friends.